Follow the breadcrumbs. So I talk a lot about following the breadcrumbs in life. In fact, many, many years ago, I had a blog called The Daily Breadcrumb. In fact, here is the banner image that I drew. First it was a pencil sketch, and then I scanned it and brought it to life digitally later on. Now, since you're listening to this, you can't see this image, but you can see the image in my actual blog post if you want to. The image is of a girl kneeling down on the ground, picking up breadcrumbs, wearing a coat. It's night. There are stars in the sky. The wind is blowing her hair and a ribbon in her hand, and there are breadcrumbs laid out before her. So I say about the image, isn't she beautiful? There is so much going on in this image. The wind moving in the direction of the breadcrumbs, the stars in the sky that shine through a wooden texture, lighting the way through the places that I still felt boxed in. The fact that there are 3 breadcrumbs beyond her reach and 1 in hand. And the fact that they then seem to go off into the abyss. A fact that I could endlessly interpret, but I'll spare you. And the ribbon in her hand that's come undone and blows in the breeze. This was the early days of me learning to follow my most authentic path and the true callings of my heart and soul. I had actually been doing it already for a long time, as a matter of fact, but when I drew this 13 years ago, it was the beginning of me being conscious of the very different way that I was living. Not following the well-worn path of others or of the collective. Not even following the radically nouveau ways of the new. Just following my own way and my own inner truth, no matter how that looked to others and no matter what it might do to me. It was the spirit that was required to build my own business and my own lifestyle on my own terms. It was the spirit that was required to travel to the places that I wanted to go and discover the things that I wanted to discover. What I realize now that I didn't realize then was it was a willingness to actually be annihilated. I know that sounds morose and dramatic, overly dramatic in fact, but what I mean is it was a willingness to fail, to not be okay, to not know what was next, and to not know how it would all turn out. Having that willingness gave me the space to try. In this way, I was putting my heart and soul's truth above satisfying the world's requirements of me and its endless expectations of me. Instead, I chose and lived my highly creative life. This was far before it was fashionable. Today, it's more becoming a new norm, which is wonderful. But back then, it was practically unheard of when I started my business 24 years ago. I didn't just stumble into a career that I could do from home or anywhere. I created it by following the breadcrumbs of my heart. And look at the world now. Suddenly, working from home or anywhere has become almost totally normal. But my intuition knew that it was for me long before it was a big thing. But I didn't understand that then. I didn't understand what I was doing. All I did was just follow the next thing that lit up on my path. The next thing that felt right or good to me. And every time I listened to that, I'd find magic. I've been doing this all my life, but I didn't really know that that's what I was doing. And when you live this way naturally, you almost forget that other people don't. It's kind of jarring, actually, to remember how limiting life can seem to those who truly feel they have no choices. We always have choices, even when they seem severely limited by forces beyond our control. We can always choose to move in our own direction in some way and in some means. That may be a very small step at first, but those steps then grow as you learn to trust not in what you've been taught or shown by others, but in the divine being that is you. So what are those breadcrumbs in your life? And how do you know where they're leading you? Well, your breadcrumbs are the things that light you up. What lights up for you will be different things at different times, and it will be exactly the next thing you need, whether it makes any logical sense to you or not. It certainly won't make logical sense to others most of the time, but you don't have to worry about that. You just let them walk their path and you walk yours. Breadcrumbs can be songs, books, lines in a movie, teachers, mentors, nature, flowers, insights, downloads, directions, places, travel, gatherings, interests, hobbies, learnings, or any number of things. Just notice what's speaking to you at any particular time. What lights you up? What fills you up? What makes you feel more at home in yourself? And how do you know where they're leading you then? You don't. Your mind may think that you want to know that, but actually your soul wants anything but. Your soul wants the discovery of itself, the adventure in knowing yourself, becoming and unbecoming, the journey out and the journey back in. Your soul wants to be annihilated eventually, in that it wants to let go of all of its ideas of itself and come back home. But the human journey is the fun that we get to have in doing that. That becoming something and unbecoming something. And I know that it doesn't feel at all fun sometimes. But from the long view, you'll look back and see it all is part of the magic. So just keep following those breadcrumbs, my dears. Because no matter where they lead you in the meantime, they're all leading you right back to you. You can't get lost. You can't fuck this up. You can only learn something new about you. Thank you for joining me today. And if you'd like to get these posts to your inbox every Sunday morning like clockwork, you can do so at sunnychapman.com/more.